that stood the test of time there.
Yes, it did.
Chief Esserman, you mentioned specifically your relationship with LISC, with the Local Initiative Support Corporation. I'm aware of some of the activities that you've worked with LISC on and some of the successes you've seen, but I don't think that the committee is, and I'd like to have the record of the committee reflect some of that activity. If you could describe it in a little bit greater detail, both as to the nature of the partnership, the nature of the activity, and the nature of the success that you found through it.
Thank you, Senator. LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, is housed in many communities across our nation, and Rhode Island is one. And it is one of the foundational partnerships we have in rebuilding neighborhoods, home by home. Community development corporations, officers working to redesign neighborhoods, streets, parks. The commanding officer of the poorest neighborhood in the state of Rhode Island, Olneyville, who grew up in that neighborhood and now commands that neighborhood district, is probably the greatest proponent, as he has worked side by side with LISC to redesign the neighborhood he grew up in, to rebuild a park that you presided over at the reopening of it, to hear Professor Herman Goldstein, probably the old sage of the new American policing movement of problem-oriented policing and community policing, sit there and cheer in the audience as he watched that ribbon being cut. Designing your way out of crime, building your way out of crime. It is an unusual partnership that has brought crime down in that neighborhood over 75%. The neighborhood that was the busiest in the city and ate up the most calls for service in our large police department is now a department that is patrolled alone by an officer who is not rushing from call to call. It's one of the partnerships that I believe matters as I hear my colleagues who I know speak about better catching. It must be coupled with better prevention. And better prevention is the business we are in as much as it is better apprehension. And LISC, or the other partnerships we speak about and that we are all involved in, is really a story of prevention, just as it must be coupled with successful and strong apprehension.
I will yield to the distinguished ranking